Welcome back to What She Said Sports, everybody. This is Nola Girl checking in. All right. So today we have breaking news from a sports perspective, and there'll be some overlap because it seems that uh, I hate to just say the conflict in the Middle East, but the crisis in the Middle East with Dubai, which is very shocking to many, many people that Dubai was attacked by missiles. And it's listed as a retaliatory strike. And it's the height of sports season. So that's where I come in at. Welcome back to What She Said Sports. So it's the height of sports season in Dubai. Missiles attack. There is a men's tennis tournament happening as all of this is happening. There's a men's tennis tournament. Now, 2 weeks ago, Coco Goff was there. I remember her posting about the tournament. So the women finished 2 weeks ago. The men's finished uh, today, and they actually completed their finals because I guess maybe there was nothing else to do. Meaning we didn't know at the time what was going on. And Dubai is a sports haven. I don't know if people know that. And the reason this is the height of the sports season is because of the weather. September to March. This is their peak time. Now, what's getting ready to follow that? Because March is what, tomorrow? Their peak travel season. Last year, Dubai had 19 million tourists. Now, there are approximately 4 million people that call Dubai home, but 19 million tourists came last year, and they're getting ready to begin the height of the travel season. Now, Dubai has world-class sports structures, but it's more than that, right? Like we have IMG, they have several IMGs, right? They have several youth sports academies that are huge there. They have a sports city, a city dedicated. This is nothing but sports. These are high-end, this high-end real estate, high-end development, a sports mall, right? Coca-Cola has an arena there. They just had the Rolex World Cup, Rolex Cup golf tournament. Of course, rugby's big. Of course, soccer or football, as we say, is huge, right? And that's what a lot of their Dubai type sports academies cater to. But they have other sports too. People were at the beach today when missiles were being launched. They were like, oh my God, I can't believe this. There's video of people that I've shared on my stories. They were, oh my God, saying we're in the midst of, World War III, right? And they could actually be right. But for all of the people who are actually there, right, that don't call Dubai home, that are there to play tennis, there to play, there's a horse races happening. For all of those events and for all of the people that are there right now, the airport is closed. Not only is the airport closed, but the airspace in the Middle East is closed. And I was left thinking, if I were in this situation, what would I do? Probably panic. I mean, you don't want people to panic, but here's the thing. You've been in a situation where a flight has been delayed, and that can be miserable, right? But have you ever been in a situation where there's a crisis in terms of security, the airport is closed, and you can't travel by land? So you're stuck, and missiles are flying overhead, right? You can't play the sport you came to play because missiles are flying overhead and you can't go home. That's what all of these athletes are faced with. And I feel like this has to be one of the worst times, but maybe not, because coming up right after, today is their Festival of the Sevens, where they have these festivals cater to different sports. They have traditional sports, they have extreme sports like sandboarding, that I call extreme, right? Because the weather is so beautiful, because the city caters to tourists, and because it is a sports haven with just a vast number of sports. There's a lot of people there. That's what I'm getting at. There's a lot of people there and a lot of people that can't get out. If you've been to Dubai, let me know, right? So I said, okay, how is it that you can move about right now and leave? We saw one of the photos I shared was of the luxurious Palm Hotel burning, engulfed in flames. So that's another issue. You can't leave. What if you were staying at the Palm It's now on fire. It's engulfed in flames. The airport's closed. All flights are canceled. And you're stuck. And here's the thing. I said, what are you doing? It said, well, wait for airspace to open. This is a full-fledged war. Airspace is not getting ready to open unless seemingly Iran decides that they don't want to continue this because they were attacked first, and all of their strikes are considered to be retaliatory. Now, the United States and Israel believed that there needed to be new leadership there, a regime change. And the Ayatollah, which is their supreme leader, has been unalived. Why am I telling you this? Because things will only continue to escalate. And as I was getting ready for this podcast, although the Ayatollah has been unalived, the successor has continued on with the strikes, which means Iran is not interested in giving up. What does that mean? It means that there's a war happening in a country where the airspace is already closed. Nobody in, nobody out. Land travel, you're supposed to call the embassy first. This is not about the festival they're going to have because those people can't come in. So that's just a tourism issue and travel arrangements. This is not about the events that just took place because those people are gone. This is about all of the people that are currently on the ground in Dubai, waiting for the airspace to open. Hopefully their hotel has not been or will not be attacked. But since Iran is still retaliating, who knows? I got a little teary-eyed because this is war. And I was listening to a journalist earlier today, and we're going to listen to a clip where people can kind of, explain that for the foreseeable future, there's uncertainty with millions of people visiting Dubai. And the analyst was saying, in terms of the U.S., the types of missiles they're using, they're not intercontinent, which means the U.S. should not expect to be hit by missile. So while there might not be a missile attack, I don't know if it's fair to say we're off the hook. I don't know about that. So you got to be careful regardless of where you are. This is war. This is war. And I know we have a lot going on in this country, and sometimes we tend to know what's going on over here and not know what's going on elsewhere. But for those people, maybe that you have family in Dubai. I have friends that were just in Dubai not too long ago, right? The top popular sports that are played there that are all impacted. They have football, soccer played at all levels with major stadiums and strong local following. Dubai is a sports haven. I do believe at one point I saw where Steph Curry and Aisha Curry, the Currys, had property there. In fact, several of the, not just celebrities, but major sports stars in the United States have property there as well. So I want you to understand, it's not just a city for tourists, for people to go hang out at the beach. I don't even know if people realize that people hang out at the beach. They have massive arenas. They cater to sports. And for all of that to be in flux, that's huge. In fact, I even wonder if because Dubai is such a sports haven, because they have sports city, sports mall, all of these arenas, they have all of these sports academies. I wonder if that will be a mediation point. I'm not sure because I don't know how long this can continue. The Terminal 3 was hit at the airport, both are closed, right? So it's football, which is soccer for them, huge cricket, horse racing. Horse racing, they was actually this weekend. They were actually having the major horse races that they have. They're known as the World Cup. I think and to tell you how massive it is. It's 9 races, and the purse, the prize, is $31 million for a horse race. I grew up with horse races. I've never seen a $31 million prize for a horse race. So that lets you know how seriously they take sports and horse racing and soccer and cricket and all of these other sports, right? You know, the famous Emirates airline, they're grounded. Everybody that flies in and out pretty much flies Emirates. And they're so into sports, Emirates airline gave a ambassadorship or NIL deal to Iowa State's basketball star, the young lady, I forget her name. I follow her, don't even remember her name. I want to call her Maddie, but I don't think that's her name. Addie. Addie. I think her name is Addie. They gave her a $2 million, like an NIL deal. And remember at Colorado, for those of you that follow Colorado Buffs, there were people trying to get NIL deals, I thought, and they were dismissed because it was impermissible, but things maybe have changed. And I think she was given a $2 million deal. She plays basketball for Iowa, or I think it's Iowa State, the one in the red and the yellow. And it's by Emirates Airline. Just to give you an idea of how seriously they take their sports. Dubai is a sports haven. So much so that their impact is reaching over to the United States. They play basketball in Dubai. Like I said, Coca-Cola has an arena. And in addition to football, which is soccer, cricket, horse racing, golf. Golf is huge. They just had the Desert Classic. They just had their golf tournament. They had the Rolex Cup. Rugby. I was watching a guy's video about rugby. He was jumping out of an airplane, like doing, skydiving, and just showing people off. And that's the Dubai Sevens. That's the event he was going to. That's coming up. That's huge, or supposed to be. Tennis. They just had the Dubai Tennis Championships. They did manage to finish the men's final. The women's were 2 weeks ago. Motorsports, popular in the region with events like the Desert Challenge. Then they have traditional sports such as camel racing, falconry, traditional dial sailing, and significant cultural sports. But outside of that, right? Water sports and fitness. You just heard me say people were at the beach when missiles were being flown overhead. And kite surfing, paddleboarding, they just had a marathon. Just watched them run the marathon. And swimming are common along the beaches. So kite surfing, paddleboarding, swimming are common along the beaches. Then there's the annual Dubai Fitness Challenge. So in addition to the marathon, I was just watching a video about the Dubai Fitness Challenge. They're really big on fitness and wellness. They have a wellness festival, fitness and wellness festival. It's huge. Growing sports, paddle, pickleball, obstacle course, racing like Tough Mudder, and is rapidly increasing in popularity. So these are the venues. Dubai World Cup is at the maiden race course, Dubai Tennis Championships Aviation Club, Dubai Desert Classic, Emirates Golf Club, Emirates Dubai 7 Stadium, Dubai International Stadium Cricket, and the El Marmoon Camel Racetrack. So that's just some of their major venues. But notice I didn't mention Sports City, sports malls, and then there's that too, right? And apparently from what I could see, that's to further cultivate Dubai as a sports haven. And I don't know how this impacts everything, but with all of those different sports happening, and not the current events, the horse races and the tennis, you have a lot of people that are there. And I checked, can they leave by land? It was like you have to ask the embassy because of the conflict there. So it's not like you just call up an Uber, right? And I liken this to, I want you to think about, like in the United States, if the airspace is closed, we can't fly in or out. And most people in the US, because 9/11 happened, and you could travel by car, but you had to get out of Manhattan. Well, this is a little different, right? This is the airspace closed from the east to west, the north and the south. And it's not permissible to travel by cars because the neighboring countries have been hit. The only country that wasn't hit is listed as a mediator, and that's Oman. And once you get to Oman from Dubai, which doesn't look like a very long trek, um, can you leave? I don't think so. That's the question. So let's take a listen to this so y'all can get a better understanding of the uncertainty and the options facing the athletes, the sports world itself, Dubai, a sports haven. I'm not going to say that this cripples them. I'm not going to say that. But this is a significant blow to the tourism because people can't fly in or out, whether it's sports related or not. And it's definitely a big, big hit for the sports world because Dubai is considered to be one of the safest cities in the world until today. All right, let's take a listen.
Supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, has been killed in the joint United States-Israeli airstrikes. It is official. Ayatollah Khamenei is dead. Photos of his corpse have been shown to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as to Donald Trump, and his death has now been confirmed by multiple credible sources, enough that we can report it here on the Midas Touch Network with a great degree of confidence. But folks, there has always been a succession plan in place for the Iran regime. They're going to be picking a new leader soon through their parliament. And if anything, they've only accelerated their attacks right now, their retaliatory strikes, that is, on Israel and in the neighboring countries from Bahrain to the United Arab Emirates and Abu Dhabi and Dubai and other surrounding areas. And so for anyone who believes the death of the Ayatollah Khamenei is going to mean a victory in this war, you don't understand the region. When the CIA was briefing Donald Trump and other intelligence services were briefing him about the risks of this war, they talked about the conflagration in the region, as well as the fact that killing Ayatollah Khamenei doesn't just stop the regime. The regime had a succession plan, and there is already, if anything, an acceleration of the attacks by Iran in the region. And as we look, for example, at the Strait of Hormuz, there's more information and data being gathered to suggest that ships are being blocked and that Strait of Hormuz, if it's not being shut down, it's certainly being impeded right now, which could also have a profound economic impact on our country and the world economy as well. So I want to go through just the.
Okay. So what he's basically describing is uncertainty. What he's cautioning against is just because the Ayatollah, who was 86, 85, has been unalive, does not mean the attacks will stop. What does that mean? So when I looked up how do you leave Dubai, the athletes, how do they leave? Whether they play tennis, they came in for the races, or they were staying at the Palm Hotel, which is now engulfed or was engulfed in flames. Looking into that, right? It's the first thing it said to do was wait for the airspace to reopen. What he just described is uncertainty, and chances are Iran is not going to stop, and they haven't. So that means you have to move on to number two. If you know the airspace. When you looked at the areas attacked by a retaliation, people are being very clear to say that this was retaliation by Iran, and it said that they launched dozens of missiles and drone barrages targeting Israel and U.S. military installations in neighboring Gulf states. So some of the places that have been hit, Israel, multiple waves attacks targeted Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, and Bahrain, the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet headquarters. Anybody in the military? I know we have some military people here. Anybody stationed in the Navy in Bahrain and Kuwait? Kuwait, the Ali Al Salam Air Base, and the Kuwait International Airport Terminal 1 were hit. So if you know anybody, it's a lot of people could have been stationed there in the Air Force, and it just says Air Base though, so it could be any branch of the government. And it said they were hit, resulting in injuries to troops and employees. So now this goes to U.S. military personnel. So we have tourists, athletes stuck in Dubai, but then now we have casualties for U.S. military. and people are not going to be about that. So, just like I'm wondering if on the Dubai side of things, they're like, hey, we're gonna need to talk this out because this is huge. You know, maybe the Americans start to say, hey, we don't want to have these casualties. I don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty because the president said, well, part of war is casualties. So that's a noble death. So it's that Qatar. So if you're just not joining us, we were talking about areas that have been hit by Iran, Israel, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Bahrain, the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet headquarters, Kuwait, the Ali Al Salam Air Base, and Kuwait International Airport, which is likely closed because Terminal 1 was hit. Qatar missiles were intercepted near El Udeid Air Base in Doha. Residents reported hearing sirens and seeing smoke from interceptions. Instead, United Arab Emirates strikes were reported at the Al Dhafra Air Base in Abu Dhabi and near Dubai International Airport, where one death was reported and flights were suspended. Now, the airport is closed. The airport was hit, apparently, and it was closed. I don't know why it took people so long to say the airport was hit. You could see it, but for whatever reason, it's like people just didn't want to say it out loud, maybe because of what I just said. Dubai is getting ready to enter the peak season. So, they didn't want to put it out there, but it's out there. This is war, right? Since the strikes have continued following the passing of their leader, that means they're not interested in giving up just yet. So, it was saying that this could go on for 3 days or it could go on for a really long time. So, that's very disruptive. And there's going to be some casualties, more casualties on the U.S. side. This continues to escalate. Jordan and Saudi Arabia, both countries reported intercepting drones and missiles over their territories, including over the Saudi capital of Riyadh and Iraq. U.S. air bases in Iraq were also confirmed targets of Iranian missile strikes. So U.S. air bases in Iraq have also been hit. So as you can see, this is escalating and it's uncertain. This is war. Now, if it ends in 3 days, I don't know if you can still call it war, call it conflict. People will be holding their breaths because they got family over there, who's supposed to be coming back to their respective countries. So I don't know. I don't know. This feels different, right? 9/11 was localized. We could leave New York and travel by the roads. You can't do any of that. And you don't know when you can. And then now there's casualties on the military side, which makes it different, right? Yeah, this is, I'm going to take over to the comments to see what y'all think. I looked up something. They talked about traveling by land, and it said that the travel by land typically happens with GCC countries. And I said, okay, let me share that because what does that mean? It said Dubai serves as a major global transit hub. So listen to that. Dubai, the Middle East airspace is closed, and Dubai is a part of that. So Dubai serves as a major global transit hub with extensive transportation links to other countries, primarily via air and land. It said, note, as of February 28th, 2026, some flights at DXB and DWC, that's the airports, are delayed and are canceled. See, they were still saying delayed. The airport's closed. Canceled due to regional security. So they suspended all flights, all operations. It said normally the city operates via top carriers such as Emirates to worldwide destinations, while road travel connects to neighboring GCC countries. All right. So the major airports are Dubai International, which is DXB, and Al Maktoum International Airport, which is DWC. They operate extensive international flights. All of that has had to come to a stop. So there's no international travel. the land transportation to nearby countries. So again, the way we think over here in America, something happens on the East Coast and we need to get back to the West Coast, we can't fly, we rent a car or we take a train, right? So GCC road trips, popular routes including driving to Oman. Oman is the one city that has not been hit. So I wonder if people can leave Dubai, if the embassy allows them to travel on the road, are they going to travel to Oman? But if the Middle East airspace is closed, that gets them out of Dubai where missiles are falling, right? Or hitting buildings. And they're going to Oman, which has not been hit because they were the mediator. So that is I'm going to be cautious here. That could be some place to look into, if things continue to take place in Dubai, because it's not a long trek there. Well, that stuck out to me when I heard them say Oman. I said, wait, I think that's like really close by, right? Um, so it said popular routes include driving to Oman, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. Now you heard me say Saudi Arabia has been hit. You heard me say Qatar has been hit. You heard them say, I just read, you can drive to Oman. If the embassy allows people to drive, Oman doesn't seem to have any type of missiles being launched their direction. That could be a haven until airspace reopens. If Dubai continues to be attacked, again, people are shocked because everybody just knows Dubai as this tourist place, which is beautiful, just gorgeous, and you just go there to enjoy yourself. We just had someone in the chat. Was it Jackie? It was her birthday. She was in Dubai. And then she said she was leaving Dubai and she was going to be there for a minute. Then she was going somewhere else. If she's in the chat, let us know. I think it was Jackie. I'm not sure. And we sang happy birthday to her and we told her, go have fun. And she was saying it was like 8 a.m. there. It was early. So we already, recently were talking to someone that was in Dubai. So I hope that she made it to her next destination. And if you're not, you call us, let us know how you are. Drop us some type of information to let us know. But I think that's who it was. If y'all remember who it was we were talking to in the chat, I see so many names every day. Was that Jackie that said she was in Dubai and we wished her happy birthday? Let me know. 1 second, guys. And for all of my military people, y'all know things. Share some helpful tips and hints and things. What do y'all know? Like you served and airspace was closed. What was the longest time something was closed? Or can you look at something like this and kind of could see how you think maybe it could go and just share some insight if you have it, if you're in the military, if you were in the military. Thank y'all so much because y'all have said multiple times certain people were in this branch of the service or that branch of the service. And I know some of y'all have served in Germany and other countries. So please share. Now I said there are bus services, options to travel between Dubai and neighboring countries like Oman. So that could be a beacon of light, right? If you're like, I don't have a car and Uber isn't working because, they have all of that. There is bus service if they're allowing it to work. This is not a typical situation. Like the rest of the country is functioning. No. So, but that is something to consider, to check into. Are the embassies allowing the bus service to run? Are the embassies allowing car services to run or any type of land transportation to Oman? That's just something to check into. All right. So I'm going to head up to comments because I want to see what y'all are sharing. Because we have, like I said, a lot of people that travel. We have a lot of travelistas, All right, guys. Hit the like button for me. Hit the like button for me. I know this is probably a surprise. Y'all thought, but I watch sports, so it don't matter where it is. It doesn't matter where it is. Hey, Ramon, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? It said, remember, you will never know how good you look until you had your picture took. Hilarious. It said we are a spare change away from 7,000. Facts, facts, facts. Hey, Nikki, how you doing? Hey, Nikki, welcome back. Welcome back. It said, does the sun set on West Coast time? What? Hey, McMillan, how you doing? Welcome back. Hey, Miss Pamela. All right. Any of my military people in here, Tina? Y'all have any input, any insight, any thoughts? You ever been in these situations? Airspace is closed. Y'all can't leave. What happens next? Happy Saturday, Peter. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? It said, yes, you can get luxury items in Dubai. Yep, I hear people say that. Yep, I know people seem to love it there. It's a horrible situation. You could get targeted with an American passport. But if you can't travel, you mean like at your hotel or something like that? Is that what you mean, Miss Pamela? Thank you for sharing that. Miss Pamela was saying, that sometimes these things tend to target Americans because they're a part of the attack on Iran, and Iran retaliated, and so I get it. All right. It said Dubai involved itself in the war by allowing itself. Okay, thank you, Donald. Be careful what you put on the screen. That's all I was saying. Be careful what you put on the screen. I'm not going down that road. Not going down that road. Hopefully the American embassy can assist with evacuation. Yes, and I wondered if, from what I understood, that before the Ayatollah passed, because it was Ramadan, the time of year it was, whatever they have transpiring culturally, he didn't think there would be an attack. So this is why they were apparently caught off guard. So I did see Kyrie Irving when Ramadan started, because they were putting his numbers up and he was still doing really well. I don't think I just shared it here, but I was paying attention, because I was paying attention to that. So I think it might still be Ramadan. So that's something right there. That's different. Hey, Queen T, how you doing? Big prayers, facts. It said we have to pray that the visitors are allowed to leave. It said Mexico didn't allow visitors to leave last week. But here's the question. They couldn't leave because they closed the airports in Mexico too. See, the airspace is closed, right? So it's not like, at this point, it's not like they have an option. And that's why we're having this conversation, right? From the sports perspective, they have all of these events. It's going to, I would imagine, affect their economy and their tourism the longer Middle East airspace is closed. So right now, I remember watching what took place in Mexico. They couldn't leave. They were stranded. So people have gone from being stranded in Mexico, and now there are people stranded in Dubai. And again, Dubai is very, very shocking, but Puerto Vallarta is a big tourist area as well. So this is the second tourist area that this involves. And with everything around it being, with the exception of Oman, but it closes the Middle East airspace. And that's huge. That involves a lot of countries. So there's no moving around unless maybe it's on and Oman might be the only place. Now, when they start to, in Miss Pamela's suggestion, maybe if they allow people to travel to Oman, regardless of how they allow it, hopefully Americans don't run into an issue. I think that's what she was suggesting. So yeah, hopefully that's not the case. That's not the case at all. It said a school full of young girls were impacted. Yep, that's very hurtful. Very, very hurtful. Very hurtful. Hey, DC, I heard about that. I didn't even understand that, because based on everything that they said that was being targeted, it was supposed to be just like US installations and Israeli targets and things like that. So I'm not sure, on that front, how that happened. And I really hate to hear that. What's going on in Dubai? Oh, wow. Okay. So Dubai was hit with retaliatory missile strikes by Iran after the US and Israel attacked Iran. So war. Yeah, war. So, and Middle East airspace is closed, and there's no time table on when it's going to open because even though the Ayatollah was unalive, there are still retaliatory strikes by Iran still happening. So that's what the guy from Midas Touch was saying. And that's the part that creates so much uncertainty. So this is war. And there's no certainty there. I don't know if there's a scenario in war where they decide we'll let the airplanes fly in the daytime and fire missiles at night. I'm not sure that that happens. I wasn't in the service. If you want to share with us, I'm happy to share with the audience because I have no idea. So, Nisi girl, war. Miss Pamela said gas prices will go up. Well, we did talk about the guy from the Midas Touch did talk about it will have a significant impact um, on our end. Yeah, I can definitely believe that because it happens anytime, right? Even if it doesn't involve the U.S., but the U.S. is involved, so it will likely be some impact. But I want to caution people, right? Just because they're missiles that we think can't go intercontinent, I think we know that that's not the only way to attack, right? Things on the ground, different things can happen. So we should not let our guard down and just think, oh, we're continents away. No, 9/11 happened and there was no war happening. So you can't think like that. That's why I said the uncertainty is there. Yep, that's what we're talking about, Miss Pamela. That's exactly what we're talking about. It's that keeping my head on a swivel. Yeah, you have to. You have to. Yeah, you have to. It's that this is scary. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I mean. Like when I was getting ready for this, I got a little teary eyed because it's like, okay, this is war, and I want people to know that you know these types of things, attacks can happen without missiles, and I don't know why that was the first thing that was discussed was that they don't have intercontinental missiles, but they do have other things. They do have probably people here could be right. So we do have to we can't be naive about this and think that because we're not where Dubai is or, you know, they can't, get there. You can't think like that. You can't think like that. And while we're talking about their sporting events and their sports culture and their economy from tourism and travel being disrupted, the same could happen here. That's what makes it so unsettling, right? Sometimes these things start, and I think people have these plans on what they think is going to happen. But again, you can't ever predict human behavior. So it's the uncertainty that's very concerning, right? It's like we're in it now. We're in it now. So it's very scary. And that's what we're thinking, right? The passing, the unaliving of the Ayatollah is just going to aggravate the situation. I don't hope there was anybody that would think that that would be the end of it. I don't know why anybody would think that. I'm sure he was 86. I'm pretty sure they had a succession plan in place already, right? And I don't know how they feel about it because it is Ramadan. I do believe. I think let me double check that. But I thought I heard that um, I think it's Ramadan though. I'm just looking over there. I think it's Ramadan because I think when I was listening, I heard them say that this is why they were caught off guard because it was Ramadan. Let's see. Here we go. Matter of fact, I know it is because I was watching two young people, two young black men, and I'll see if I can share it. And I think they went to Dubai, and they were saying they were fasting. Yeah, they were saying they were fasting. And here's the Ramadan timetable. Let's see. Tuesday, February 17th. Yep, it is Ramadan. Tuesday, February 17th through Wednesday, March 18th. Right. Okay, so that is correct. So that is what they were saying. They didn't expect any attacks to happen because that is their uh holy time, right? So I don't know why they thought people would stick to the rules or something. That's what I mean. These types of things, you can't. I'm going to share this with y'all. Now, it had just started. I don't know if these young men knew what was going on. Yeah. I don't know if these young men knew what was going on. So, people thought they were being funny. Oh, I thought they were funny because of what was happening while they were there. Let me see if I can share this with y'all because I don't know if they realize it. So apparently they have these types of sirens that were being you know that were going off. So maybe they do. So I hope nobody is thinking that they should be ashamed of themselves because I don't think they did anything bad. I think they were just trying to understand what was going on. All right. And they're young black men, so that's why I'm saying that. I think that, that's what they were. I think this right here. Oh, they're in Qatar. Let's see if this is them. Yeah, this is them. They're in Qatar, actually. I'm going to share this with y'all. So, yeah, they weren't in Dubai. They're in Qatar, but I did hear them say they were fasting. And I don't know if they were in shock. People said this generation is something else. Like it's just a generation is unserious. And I was like, maybe they don't really know what's going on. I don't know. I was giving them the benefit of the doubt. Here, all right. So let's share this. All right. These two gentlemen are in Qatar. All right, they're on my screen. They're on my screen. All right. So they said you accidentally get caught up in World War III. That's what they were saying. And somebody said this generation. So yeah.
No, no. You see, we're Cliff on World War III, bro. It's like Cliff Bombs. Into the Cliff was. Okay, no.
So yeah, they're in Qatar. And they were just, you know, going about their day and then a missile flew, I think, in the background. And they were just saying you accidentally get caught up in World War III. And they were saying they were kind of nervous. They were saying they were kind of nervous. Asking people to pray for them. Let's see.
We're literally in World War III in Qatar, bro. But peep the fit though, like you feel me, like
Peep the fit.
The fit, bro. First World War, bro. Kind of nervous, bro. I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of nervous about the guys, yo. Bro, all our friends that's the hood fish. We out here, you feel me, like we in the battlefield and shit, you know. Hood fish. We out here seeing missiles fly. Yeah, miss what, dude? You're gonna have to say goodbye. Astaghfirullah. A lot of people like that. No. You see, we're Cliff on World War III, bro. It's like Cliff Bombs.
Okay, so hey Qatar, and hey Qatar, but they said they saw a missile fly by. They were saying peak the fits. I'm like same but different everywhere, right? It's gonna be fresh to death, and I saw that first, and they had me laughing. I was like, what's going on? Because like I said, I thought they were in Dubai. They're in Qatar and they are fasting. And I did hear somebody say that they felt like the Ayatollah was not expecting any targets because it is Ramadan. So I just went back to them for the reference, right? All right, let me keep going through these comments to see if y'all can share. Anything? Oman is beautiful. Oh, coach. Okay. Coach said Oman is beautiful. So that's good. Maybe, I don't know if people gonna get to go there, but um, it's a lot of people to get out right now. And I don't know if everybody can go to Oman. I never saw, I looked at it on the map. It did look like a very big place. But according to Coach, it's beautiful. Coach, what brought you to Oman? Share with us. Were you in the service or you had travel? Travel? Was it just personal travel? If you can share what you can share. All right, that would be good. Oh, man. Let's see if we can see this. I'll see if I can share this with y'all. Oh, can't share that one. Let's see. Maybe this one. So I don't know what's going to happen with the closed airspace in the Middle East will definitely impact the Festival of Sevens. I don't know how it's going to impact Sports City, whether people coming back home to that, Sports Mall, any of these sporting events that were already planned, the ones that were currently in place. It seems that everything has come to a halt, right? And Oman might be the only place that maybe people, if they have to move around, they can. I don't know. Let's see. All right, let's see if I can share this. So Coach said that Oman was beautiful. So let's see. And I said that it's reported that Oman was a mediator and that country was not targeted. So, and it's not that far from Dubai. Again, people are just shocked because it's Dubai. Hey, Bridget, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Yep, prayers up. Prayers up. Former Marine here. I'm sure the CIA is there. It's a waiting game before they put boots on the ground with the US. Okay, so what you're saying is we don't have any people over there, right? So it's going to be a waiting game. So for the people that are already there, it's going to be something they just going to have to wait and see. That's what you're saying. All right. Okay. Many countries call for their citizens to come home. Okay. When was that? When was that, Destiny? It said they reported the Americans in the Middle East are to shelter in place. Okay. So that means that that's probably what's going to happen. So they've already called for a shelter in place. Okay. Okay. It said, Tina said, I was in during peacetime. It said, unfortunately, I didn't have any information to share on airstrikes or how to maneuver. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. You were there during peacetime. Okay. Thank you. It said, this was sad. I saw a video of an American player trying to find shelter at the safe house. It said she was looking for a blue door where her other teammates were at. And was this in Dubai? Yeah, probably. Because I'm, thinking that's what you meant. So yeah. Yeah. I saw images, like I said, there was a missile flying head, people at the beach. Sporting events were currently active at the time. Tennis decided to finish the men's final. They did. However, people were talking about how the athletes will be able to leave Dubai. I don't see that happening with the Middle East airspace being closed. Like I said, that's a big region, right? That's huge. That's huge. Donald said, yes, it's Ramadan. Thank you for confirming. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been said to keep an eye out due to sleeper cells and stay. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Be safe when you're out and about. Always know your exits when you're in stores. Right. And that's what I mean by people need to not assume and fall into some sense of comfort because we're continents away. No, you can't do that, right? You can't do that. You have to wonder at this point, uh-oh, right? So we're embroiled in a war. That's just what it is. It's not just, and that's why I think I saw something that said Middle East conflict. And I'm like, I don't even know if you could say that because the US is involved. So I didn't call it that. I just called it a crisis because the crisis currently is over there. But I think last time I checked on X, Iran was trending. Um, Checking to see if there's any new information out there. Nikki, thank you for sharing that because there'll be a lot of, I think over here in the States, we're just kind of starting to catch on what's going on. And, usually we feel like we're not involved with these types of things, but, we live in a global society and we are involved. We are involved. Yeah, it was trending at one point. I think just different things are trending right now. But you would think that with Dubai being involved, here it is right here. With Dubai being involved, that people would focus more on this, but I don't know. See, I think what's going to happen in the States, I think that people are going to um, get upset about the casualties from the US. One, because I don't think Congress voted on this engagement. I don't think so. And I think that's going to be a problem. Because I'm already seeing on X, people's kids are being put in harm's way while the people that decided to get involved, the kids are somewhere on vacation. So those kinds of things are going to come up. That I meant by on the US side is going to likely be the military casualties. And in Dubai, it looks like you have to guess what that's going to be. Hey, this is affecting our what? This is affecting tourism. This is affecting their economic growth. This is affecting their economic stability. With people thinking it's one of the safest places in the world. They didn't say in the region, they said the world. That's how people feel. It's one of the safest places in the world. That's why there's so many sporting events. That's why Coca-Cola has an arena over there. Rolex is playing a cup because that's where, a lot of things are moving to. They want to have different things like basketball. They have basketball and they want those things to be huge. And one of their selling points is just the weather from September, whatever, and the peak travel. But when you develop a sports city with high end luxury housing and you have all of these sports academies for kids to go to, you're trying to get people to buy in to the sports culture that you're building. And when something like this happens, when there's several sporting events, the races happening, the horse races and tennis all happening, the marathon just happened. I mean, you can kind of see that Dubai is a sports hub. And I don't know if people talk about Dubai like that. Normally, when we hear people going to Dubai, they go shopping, they just go, they show us all the beautiful places they've gone to, the places they go to eat and different types of things and some of the activities that they do. But Dubai is a sports haven. And they seemingly are positioning themselves to be that. And this could have some type of an impact. That's why I say this is shocking for Dubai. Like you would think you didn't hit Oman. Did you really want to hit Dubai? It's war. That's how you know it's war. There are no rules. There's supposed to be rules, but rules of engagement, but I don't think there's any because Ramadan is a time period for Iran and Dubai. Seemingly you think benefits a lot of people and, that you wouldn't want to do that. But yeah, here we are. I hope nothing happens during Passover. Oh, in retaliation? Yeah, I don't think they're going to wait for that. I totally agree. 2026. Yep, parades, concerts, and large gatherings. Yep, you want to be very careful. It's that all of this puts things into perspective. Yeah, it does. It makes it like really. I think in the U.S. it's starting to sink in slowly, right? And I don't know if they're talking about it on the news because I don't really watch. Man, I don't watch mainstream media. I do this because of YouTube. I was on my own channel and clicked off after watching one of my videos, just make sure it was good, the one I put out earlier. And I was looking at the pictures of, I was like, that is that Dubai? Couldn't believe it, right? I just couldn't believe it. And from there, I was just, like kind of in shock a little bit. And then when they said the airspace was closed, there were already people at the airport, but they closed the airspace. Like, that's huge. Then I was thinking about the US, and I was like, knowing us, we just get in the car and go from one, but you can't even do that. If they tell you to shelter in place, I doubt they really would just let people roam around how they want, right? It said, be careful also if you're traveling to European countries, right? Anybody have any travel coming up? I think I said Jackie, who's a part of our community. Did anybody remember if that was her that said she was in Dubai? It was last week. And she said she was going to be there for a couple of days and she was going somewhere else. It was her birthday. Does anybody remember that? Yeah. So we're going to have to see. Hey, Kanissa, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Kanissa said, hey, everyone, this situation is scary. My father was career military and said the United States goes all over the world to fight wars with others. It said one day war will come back to us. I'm sure military people feel that way. I'm sure. I'm sure they feel that way. I'm pretty sure. It said the World Cup is in the US this year. Yep, right here in Atlanta, right? FIFA. Matter of fact, they were talking about FIFA in Dubai. I think that was yesterday, I think. Talking about FIFA was meeting with Dubai because for the next site. So see, I guess they were looking at them for the next site. I think it's in Atlanta in June. I thought it was January because the city's doing a whole lot, right, to get that together. And but they said 35,000 hotel rooms have been canceled. So you see how the sports world is impacted. So imagine if here in the States we have the World Cup coming up in June, right here in Atlanta, and 35,000 hotel rooms were canceled. That's a lot. Did I tell y'all when I was flying back to Atlanta? I think I was on Delta. And when the plane landed in Atlanta, there was a lot of people with the same blue jumpsuit on. That was FIFA. It said FIFA on their jackets. They were coming to inspect Atlanta to determine if they wanted it to be the site for FIFA. And about a week or two later, it was announced. It was like 20 of them, all on the plane with like attaché cases, laptop bags, or whatever. But they all had on navy blue FIFA tracksuits. Yep. And they were coming for meetings. And then we got it. And now I don't know. That could be huge, but I don't know what's going to happen with all these hotel rooms being canceled, right? Is the events, I'm assuming it's still going to take place, but I think I read that they were meeting in Dubai for like a future site. World Cup. Let's see. Thank you for that, Coach. World Cup Atlanta. Let's see if there's any news on that. And that's going to be something to look for. Remember the Olympics? It said the World Cup Festival announced across 17 miles of the Atlanta Beltline. Okay, that's 3 days ago. They said new Airbnb hosts excited for high demand as travelers head to the city for the 2026 World Cup. It said FIFA World Cup news, Decatur Watch Fest. Yep, so everybody's excited. That's a day ago. Atlanta small businesses prep for $503 million World Cup economic windfall this June. It said Atlanta anticipates $503 million economic impact for the upcoming World Cup matches starting this June. Atlanta artists create vibrant tribute to West Midtown ahead of FIFA World Cup. A blank wall in West Midtown is transforming into a colorful celebration of history and culture thanks to a local artist. Now, that was 23 hours ago. So we're definitely still having it. And yes, a lot of hotel rooms have been canceled, but Atlanta is gearing up, and that could be something people need to. We'll see if this has any impact on that. We'll just have to see. But can you see, from the sports world's perspective, how much money comes into these cities, right? And if things happen like with Dubai, how how much of a negative impact this could have to their economy? Yeah, I totally forgot about. And you know what? Atlanta has the Super Bowl in 2028. So FIFA in 2026, the Super Bowl in 2028. So it says this is what was taking place in Dubai today. What day is it in Dubai? Because I know there might be a day ahead. It said the annual Dubai World Cup, one of the world's richest horse races, takes place on Saturday. Oh, that's not until March. They don't have that until March. March 28, 2026 at the maiden race course. I think it said March. Yeah, it says March and the Dubai UAE. So I wonder if that's going to still happen. That's the one they said with the huge purse of like 30 million, 30.5 million US dollar prize purse across 9 races, including a $12 million title race. A $12 million title race. Tickets start at AED 40 with premium experiences available. So that's the Dubai Racing Club. So that's coming up actually. Yep. And they said it's a very prestigious event. I heard for the Super Bowl, 600 private jets flew into and out of the airports for Super Bowl weekend, 600. So I would say that they consider that to be a premier event as well, right? So now you can kind of see on the scale of these events and that just took place in the US that's getting ready to take place in Dubai in March. That's huge. For something to be such a premier event with such a big purse, you know that there's a lot of people involved in that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens after today. If things de-escalate and Dubai moves forward, I don't know about the rest of the region, but we're going to have to see. Emirates Airlines, I doubt that they stay grounded over there for a significant period of time. I can't see it. When you understand the business community and tourism and travel, but just from the business perspective, that's going to cost them majorly, right? So we're talking U.S. casualties, impact to our economy, to Dubai's economy, the region's economy. A lot is grounded, right? A lot is grounded in terms of just sports alone. And I don't know if that can move the needle. We're going to have to see. It's big business. So I hope we thought this through. That's all I can say. It's that folks have been on the news talking about it a while now in anticipation. Yeah, but while that might be true, and I know that that's true, we're talking about Dubai, and I don't know if people saw that coming. I don't think people saw that coming, right? I don't even want to compare it to anything over here because I don't want people to feel like, no, Dubai is much nicer than that. That's not what I mean. Like when you think of something in the States that if it's disrupted, like the city of New York, right? That's one, right? Vegas at one point, I don't know if Vegas is still booming like that. I hear a lot saying no. Hell, New Orleans, when the attack happened there, that was huge, right? They had to decide whether or not to continue on with the Sugar Bowl. I think, was it the Sugar Bowl? It's the Sugar Bowl. It was Georgia, and I forgot who they played, but I remember I was there. And they said they were dropping tickets to $1. They did not want to cancel that event. In fact, I feel like they moved it by a day and dropped ticket prices to $1. So what I'm trying to give you is insight as to how sports culture, sports business can move the needle in areas that you're not thinking about. So a terrorist attack in New Orleans happens, Sugar Bowl weekend. They didn't want to cancel that event. So they recognized some of the family members of people. I think there was a guy he lost his brother and he was supposed to play in the game. They recognized their families during the game. I think they moved it by a day, even though the city was shook. And people were, basically saying that it should have been canceled. They dropped the ticket prices to $1, but they didn't cancel it. Now, I just shared with you how premier this horse race is. Let's see if they cancel it. Some tell me no. I don't know how that would work, but I don't get the impression. If you hear that the airspace opened up soon, to allow for certain travel or something, I don't know. That's why I'm thinking there's no way, right? There's no way that that's just going to stay like that. And like I said, on the U.S. side, concerned about the 19 million people were recorded, which was a record breaking. So Dubai welcomed a record breaking 19,059,000 people. I will share this with y'all so you could see. See, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Dubai is a sports haven. They just had a record breaking travel year. They're getting ready for this premier race with a $30 million purse over 9 races and a $12 million purse for 1 race. And it's their peak travel season. What are y'all thinking? How sports, Dubai being a sports haven, could move the needle in this situation? Like they said, Oman was a mediator and they weren't hit. And can you see something where Dubai could intervene, perhaps? That's huge. Let's see if you can see it. Yeah, that's huge. All right, 19 million people. I'm trying to think of a state with 19 million people in it. Let me see what United States. What state in the United States has 19 million people population? Let's see if I get an answer, y'all. What state in the United States has a population of 19 million?
Trouble with the connection. Sorry, something's wrong. Please try again.
What state in the United States has a population of 19 million people? So we can get a perspective.
New York State population is estimated 19.5 million in 2019.
Well, there you go. There you go. The entire state of New York. The entire state of New York. Tell me that's not impactful. You see now? That's why I was like, okay, I think people need to kind of understand what's at stake here. Yes, lives in the military, tourists. There have already been people lost, war casualties, of course. But with Dubai, this is what I mean by it. This was shocking that Dubai was hit. Spared Oman, but not Dubai. And that's huge. So I wonder what the expectation is now. Right? So it's 19 million people, which is equivalent to the entire population of the state of New York in 2019, because there's more people there now. Well, I don't know. A lot of people are actually moving away from the state of New York just because it's so expensive, especially the city. So it's the international overnight visitors 2025 marking a 5% increase from 18 million. So they're steadily growing by 5%, 5 to 7%. The city has experienced consistent growth in tourism, with 2025 marking the 3rd consecutive year of record-breaking figures, solidifying its position as a top global destination. So you have a top global destination ensnared in this. Yep, that's the entire state of New York, guys. The largest visitor shares come from GCC countries, which were the countries that I just mentioned, including Oman, South Asia, 15%, and CIS and Eastern Europe, 15%. So they're expecting a whole lot to happen, right? Talking about hotel occupancy reach 83%. The Dubai Mall is the most visited attraction with over 100 million visitors annually just to the mall. Wow. That's crazy. Yep. So Yep. The city's tourism is driven by diverse offerings and attractions, including the Burj Khalifa, which people thought was hit today, but I think maybe there was something around it that was hit and it was not, which attracts 4 million visitors annually, and the Dubai fountain, which draws 15 million. So, yep, Dubai is a top global destination. So this is huge. It's also a big sports haven. This makes it even huger. And with all the people over there on the ground, it's huge. So I don't know what's going to happen. I think that's what makes it sad, the uncertainty. It said, I saw a lady in Costco yesterday. She looked like and dressed as if she was from the Middle East. She was on the phone and she looked devastated. Ah, okay. Thank you for sharing that perspective. Perspective. That's facts, chosen. That's what we're finding. That's what we're finding out. Okay. It said US, China, India, and European countries from 27 through 28. Oh, from 27 to 28 until airspaces were closed. Then they were told to shelter in place. It said Congress did not give the green light for this operation. Right. So let's see if anything changes because of that. I don't watch mainstream media. Yeah, I don't either. I don't either. Hey Isaiah, how you doing? 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 It said avoid huge crowds, etc. Yeah, I think you have to be safe. Sleeper cells are in the US. Remember the movie Red Dawn. I never saw the movie Red Dawn, but thank you for sharing. I think we know what you mean too. Yup. Definitely a fight for power. Definitely. It said it's definitely going to have a negative impact on the U.S. economy. America can't afford another war. We were broke before the war started. Right. And do we have any? We just passed the Super Bowl. So that's interesting. We just passed the Super Bowl. World Cup is not until June. Don't know if this would change things. The way people are excited, I'm thinking no. Thinking no. Sports brings all type of people together from different cultures. Hopefully this will pass through. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right? That's what I'm thinking. You know, if the sports culture, the sports community, Dubai could move the needle. It is interesting in the US because imagine if something did happen over here and then the Super Bowl were coming up. That was a pretty huge event, even though I didn't partake, right? But then World Cup is even bigger because you have more people coming from other countries. It's global sport. That's not till June. So hopefully this is resolved by then. Hopefully, something this is resolved by then because I just don't see how I just can't see how this could continue much longer. I've never been involved in this situation, so of course I can't see it. But it said, "Love your show, Miss Nola. I believe you will be at 10,000 soon." Oh, thank you, Kima. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yep, we gonna keep pushing till we get there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. With all of this stuff happening, and you know how people like to tamper with the algorithm to produce an outcome. So thank you for that. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I appreciate that. Hey Tamika, how you doing? Welcome back. Does anybody remember who told us they were in Dubai? I really feel like it was Jackie. Tamika, it wasn't you, right? It wasn't you that said you were in Dubai. I think that was Jackie. I think it was. Flyest show on the planet. Thank you so much. They haven't canceled the World Cup yet because they're waiting to see what happens. Okay. Now, when you say they haven't canceled the World Cup yet, they're waiting to see what happens. Are you saying as a result of something else or from this event right here? Let me know. Expand on that just a little bit for me, if you don't mind. Just a little bit. I appreciate that. Thank you, Destiny. Shout out to the Flies chat room. Yes, chat. Y'all are the Flies chat room. That's y'all's name. Chat. I was just call y'all chat. That's y'all's name. Absolutely. It said praying for everyone in the chat. Keep the spirits up. Facts. 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 So I want everybody to keep their spirits up. I think we all said it. You know, we don't want to be naive. Let's just move about cautiously. Because while they might not have missiles that are intercontinental, intercontinental missiles, we know that that's not the only way attacks can happen, right? Some people think that, you know, the consequences could be too great for some of the parties involved. I don't know. I'm not really sure. Yep. So like I said, to conclude, I just think that Dubai was a shock. I don't think people are necessarily, I do think people are shocked that this took place without Congress congressional approval. I will say that I think people are shocked by that because I'm not sure if that's ever happened before as either. I know people are shocked by Dubai. I know people are shocked by that. Because like I said, Oman is right there and you spared Oman. So why Dubai? Maybe because I think they said there was a building in Dubai that was given to the president of the United States as a gift. And I don't know if that was the Palm Hotel because they supposedly did hit the Palm Hotel, and that might explain why Dubai. Let's see, what building? It was a gift, I heard. Gifted, and that might explain because otherwise it doesn't really explain it, right? And that might explain that building. I just hope, you know, people in that building weren't hurt. Oh, okay. It said they're developing a brand and branding properties in the region, but these are business projects. They said he got a building as a gift. I don't know if it was a palm or not, but when you look online, it said there's going to be. Oh, there is a Trump International Golf Club in Dubai, which opened in 2017. That's there and announced in 2025 by Dar Global Trump Organization. The 80-story project is located along. That's the Trump International and Hotel and Tower, located along Sheikh Zayed Road, and is set for completion in 2031. So there was a building under construction. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Because it doesn't make sense. Let's be honest. When you're thinking about it, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So it said all you have to know about Red Dawn is Russian soldiers landed on the U.S. soil in parachutes where we have no defense and civilians had to fight them. Okay. So there was a military attack by a foreign country on U.S. soil in parachutes where we had no defense and civilians had to get involved. Now I see. Now I see. Okay. Now I see what you mean. Okay. Well, thank you. I put the summary on the screen. So on the screen is the summary to the movie Red Dawn. That's what they were suggesting that people kind of watch the movie or understand that's how things happen sometimes. Iran and Russia are strong allies. Yeah. What about the relationship between the leader of Russia and the U.S.? What about that? I mean, what do y'all think? Neutral for Russia because doesn't Trump have a relationship with Putin? Let me see any major sporting events coming up in the U.S. Let me see something right fast. I don't think so. I think everything has already happened. Other than World Cup. All right. FIFA tops the list of major sporting events coming up in 2026. FIFA World Cup, June, July. Men's Final Four, April 4th through 6th. That's first. Indianapolis. And NASCAR's top races like the Daytona 500 and the Indy 500. So the Daytona 500 just happened because Michael Jordan won. And the Indy 500 is in May. In fact, side note, they are crediting Michael Jordan with saving NASCAR because his racing company, 23XI, won one of the big races, the Daytona. And they said so many people are coming to the sport now because of him. See how impactful see how impactful the business of sports is? One person who was a champion, a legend in basketball, even though he played baseball a little bit, he was a legend in basketball, right? And look at how he celebrated. And now that he's in NASCAR and won one of their big races, the Daytona, if he went Indy, they're going to go crazy. He said he felt like he had a 7th ring. One person is being credited with saving NASCAR, the GOAT from basketball. So when I think about Michael Jordan and I think about Coach Prime, both two sports legends, but Coach Prime excelled at both at a high level. Am I correct? So Coach Prime is on that level, right? That GOAT level, just football and baseball instead of basketball. In baseball, I think the difference is Michael Jordan has all these rings, right? Was it six rings? Right. Okay. And I know Coach Prime went to the World Series and the Super Bowl, right? I don't know. 6 rings versus 2 sports championships. What do y'all think? What trumps what? 6 rings. The 6 rings trump the 2 sport championship for football and baseball. That's a side note question. But do you see how impactful sports is? Because you see how much of a legend Coach Prime is, right? Let me know your thoughts there. That's a good question. All right, I guess we can close this out. I wanted to, we're going to play this video one more time for y'all that joined us late so y'all can get the perspective of what's going on. Hit the like button for me, please. Sports has no borders and neither does my content. So if it says sports, it counts. It counts. And this is important, right? Because hell, we said it. I think Jackie, I think that's who that is. That was in our community last week that said she's in Dubai. I hope she's gone. I hope she had a chance to leave already. Right now, the U.S. and Israel. Yes, that's facts. So we're talking about the strikes in Dubai being retaliatory strikes by Iran. Yeah, correct. And I thought I read what Iran was striking U.S. military and Israeli military stations and bases and things like that, which is where the military casualties come in at. But because Dubai didn't make any sense to me, so I'd have to look that up as to why did Iran strike Dubai? Did it have anything to do with the real estate that Trump holds over there? I asked the question. Let's see what the answer is. I said, why did Iran strike Dubai? Iran launched missile and drone strikes targeting Dubai and other regional neighbors on February 28th as part of a massive retaliatory campaign following joint U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran earlier that day. It said retaliation for U.S.-Israel attacks. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards, the IRGC, stated the strikes, dubbed Operation Truthful Promise 4, were a direct response to a massive U.S. and Israeli assault on Iranian territory, including its capital of Tehran. It said targeting U.S. military assets. It said Iran officially claimed it was attacking U.S. military bases and assets hosted within Gulf nations. The UAE, along with Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait, host significant U.S. military installations. Okay. It said coercion of Gulf allies. Analysts suggest the strikes aim to impose material costs on stable Gulf monarchies to pressure them into lobbying the U.S. to halt its bombing campaign. Okay. Impact of Dubai. The Palm Jumeirah It said missile debris fell near the iconic Fairmont, the Palm Hotel, causing a significant fire and injuring at least 4 people. Then there's the Dubai International Airport, the Jebel Ali Airport. So, okay, so that's why. Because I said it didn't make any sense. Pressure. So it's supposed to be for pressure. To Dubai was possibly attacked to apply pressure on the U.S. to halt the attacks. Do y'all think that would happen? I think it would help. I think because what we were just talking about, right? What's coming up in March? Now remember, Iran, according to Iran, it's Ramadan. They weren't expecting it, but now that it's happening, you know what's coming up in March for Dubai. That's huge. And I'm glad we read that because I kept saying it makes no sense to attack Dubai because we don't have any installations there. But pressure is to apply pressure to the U.S. to halt. So if this goes on and the Middle East airspace stays closed, and we have all of these athletes and tourists trapped there and can't leave, the pressure will come from the Dubai side. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if that's what they were thinking, but I think so. Let me know your thoughts. So this was clarity. This was good. I'm glad we had this conversation. It puts things into perspective. We also did talk about keep your head on the swivel, because missiles are not the only way. And it gives it a little bit more clarity now that we understood, not that we agree with, the strike on Dubai, because that made absolutely no sense. It made, if you could spare Oman, I would think you would spare Dubai. But I just read Trump Hotel and Tower, golf courses, the big races coming up, $30 million purse. That's huge. And don't forget the Festival of the Sevens. That's huge too. And then their peak travel season. So the timing, it kind of explains that they're leaning on Dubai to apply pressure. I'm sure Dubai and the rest all together, but that's why Dubai. Okay. All right. Hey, Priscilla, how you doing? I said I'm going to play this video one more time for y'all that have joined us. Thank you so much for the positive space you've created here for all of us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Fred. Okay, so Fred said, so with Fred, with them having a close relationship as friends, do you feel like Russia will remain neutral? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. Donald says he thinks Trump is more aligned with the Ukraine right now. So he's not sure about the relationship between Russia and Putin. It says Russia has damaging. Yeah, I heard about that. And yep. Facts. 6 rings, go to all time. So you think the 6 rings actually trump the 2 sport for Coach Prime? Let me know. And thank you for clarifying. It said Iran struck Dubai because it allows U.S. military to set up bases in Dubai. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. I got it. Destiny said Russia is happy as long as the U.S. stay out the way. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Not only are we at war with Iran, it's picking with Cuba. I did hear something about Cuba recently, not allowing them to get goods from other countries. That could be a problem. Yeah, sounds like an octopus operation because you got your hands involved in so many different things. Okay, thank you, Donald. Thank you so much for the clarity. It said Iran is also part of BRICS. Can you expand on us to what that is? I can look it up if you want to tell us what that is. We're not sure what that is. BRICS is an expanded, influential bloc of major emerging economies. Originally, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa formed to promote mutual economic development, challenge Western-dominated global financial systems, and increase the voice of the global south. Oh, okay. Okay. So let me get the countries one more time. Originally, it was Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Okay. And you're saying Iran is a part of that? I think it is. As of 2025, it has expanded to include Egypt, Ethiopia. That's huge because Ethiopia don't play. Iran, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Indonesia, representing nearly half of the world's population and roughly 36 to 39% of global GDP. So we're not a part of that. And the people we're discussing today, Iran is, as well as Russia. Now that's interesting. Now that's going to be interesting. And what is it? An expanded influential block of major emerging economies. And what did we just say is being negatively impacted in Dubai? The economy. The UAE, Saudi Arabia, Iran. So if Iran is a part of that, wow, or would they attack Saudi Arabia and the UAE? That's weird. But this is good. Now, this is good information. Shout out to who said that? Was that Isaiah? Now that's some good info. That's some good info. Okay, so that gives that's a reference for when things move forward, either escalate or de-escalate, and who's going to possibly align with whom. But then again, if Iran and Saudi and the UAE are all in there together, why would they attack them? But I get it. The US is not a part of that. So that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be interesting. Because when they align on the economies, you would think I wouldn't want to damage Dubai's economy. However, pressure. And all of those countries could band together and apply pressure as well, even though they're not involved, because they have member countries that are. Stay vigilant. Facts. 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 That's what we're saying. It said, I think India is in BRICS. Yeah, I think it said it was too. Yep. India is the I in BRICS. That's facts. India is the I in BRICS. Fred said you can't trust it. There's unpredictability there from the Russians. So, yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Donald. It said Muslims do not side with the aggressor of other Muslims. Okay, well, that's good to know. That's good to know. Thank you for that. This has nothing to do with sports and real estate. This is biblical. Okay. Multiple things can be true at the same time. While it might be biblical, the earthly things that are happening, when you look at Dubai and now, you understand all of these partnerships that all these countries have, and you understand what Dubai is and what it is becoming and what's upcoming in Dubai and the ability to exert pressure on the United States, it definitely is relevant. It definitely is relevant. So we're just going to have to wait and see, because you have to understand two things can be true, right? It can be biblical, but in an earthly sense, where you apply biblical principles, Dubai is relevant in this entire situation for pressure. I said it. It didn't even make no sense to do that. But now I get it. I understand the pressure. That's why. The pressure. Got it. I didn't know that. Me either. Right. We just learned a lot. BRICS was designed to bring down the US dollar influence. When you say bring down or align, you mean like destroy? Is that what you mean? Thank you. We got you. That's what we got. Yeah. Oh, okay, you said these countries don't want these countries are at odds with the dollar. That's what y'all are saying. That's what y'all are saying. A really counter US dollar influence. Okay. So okay. And I think when we were talking about the situation in Dubai, they said the purse, what's the currency of choice over there? Did y'all know the currency in Panama is the US dollar? Dubai's currency is the, how do you say that? The Arab Emirates dirham, commonly abbreviated as the AED or DH. It said 1 dirham is divided into 100 fields. It is pegged to the US dollar at a fixed rate of approximately $1 equals 3 AEDs. Okay. I don't know how they refer to it over there, what they actually call it, but that's what it is. Okay. So their currency is not the US dollar. It is not. But Panama's is. Panama's is. It's that I don't know about that part, but what I do know is that this is war. So I want y'all to go out there, and when you go out there, I want you to be careful. Just keep your head on the swivel. We pray for, because a lot of people involved. We pray for a peaceful, swift end to this, right? Regardless of how we got there. Okay, we pray for a swift end peacefully to this. No more casualties and no more people trapped and stuck places away from home, because that has to be. I don't know how to deal with that, especially with the uncertainty that there's no time limit. So y'all be careful out there. That's the point. And sports is big business, and we talked about Dubai. It's reported that attack to bring influence for the U.S. and Israel to stop the attack. So let's see what happens. That means with Dubai being a sports haven, global tourist destination, there's some power there. There's some power there. And we know it's upcoming, the races. So hopefully this comes to an end quickly, but definitely before then, because that's almost 30 days from today. And there's people trapped with the Middle East airspace closed. So let's keep people in our prayers. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. This was just a special podcast discussing Dubai sports being canceled due to the airspace being closed, with the uncertainty of when the airspace would open and the impact to Dubai's economy and sports in Dubai and around the world. All right. See y'all soon. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. I'll see y'all next time.